Welcome to She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this podcast are the audio versions of my live Q&A chats on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of the live Q&A chats, come on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. I'm live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. We talk about voiceover, the business of voiceover, audiobooks, and so much more. Find more information on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Enjoy today's episode. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Just making sure that everything is working. Looks like we kind of are in most places, but anyway, welcome. Welcome to another live Q&A session here on my channel. I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips, tricks, techniques, things that I do every day in my own voiceover business, and then we get together in these weekly chats to talk about a topic or two. Because as we're always saying, trends are always changing, and, you know, it's sort of, I don't want to say it takes a village, but having peers around you to kind of help you through and fill in gaps for marketing, learning, you know, all the technical stuff. It really is helpful. And consider me sort of like a host. I am a place where you guys can come and share information, learn information, hopefully. Obviously in the hopes to push you guys forward and to get you guys rolling. But if you're not new here, then you know every week we have a new poll. And for those of you on the YouTubes, get your votes in, because it will determine what I touch on the most, I think. But today's poll is, what is hardest about contacting authors directly? Because we are talking about direct client outreach or author outreach for audiobooks. We're going to be focusing on audiobooks today. I know a lot of you start on ACX. Let me just mute myself on YouTube so I can hear myself talking. Start on ACX and, you know, submit the samples, do the auditions, all that fun stuff. And then we've also talked about Academy Voices, which we are building as voice actors, run by voice actors. Academy Voices we are building to be not just an alternative to ACX, but better than. Because we're going to be getting into immersive audio and all of that stuff somewhere down the line. So we're building that out, excited about that. But for now, if you're looking for a way to skip ACX altogether and create your own relationships and connections with authors, that's what we're talking about today. So what is hardest about contacting authors directly? 36% of you said finding the right authors. 40% of you said knowing what to say. Understandable. 8% of you said fear of being ignored. And 16% of you said turning those replies into work. Now you guys are voting. Now we have a split between finding the right authors and knowing what to say. Okay, perfect. Because those were really the two things that I was going to focus on today. Is how to find the right authors and what do you say to them once you find them. So what I want to start with, I think, is before you even start reaching out to authors directly, you got to have a game plan, right? For those of you that are just starting out in audiobook narration, you got to have something to give them when asked. You got to have an idea of how to charge, what to charge. Make sure you have all of those things in place first before you start. I did want to show you guys, for those of you on YouTube, I don't know if you're going to see it on Instagram, but let me see if I can show you my screen here really quickly. I don't know if you can, I don't think you can actually see. Oh, here it is. Nope, that's the wrong tab. Hang on. You know me. Okay, so let's just, no, that's not where I want to start. This, oh, here we go. I got it. I got it. We're good. Okay. So if you're on ACX, and I know ACX isn't available everywhere, but if you're on ACX, let's move you over here. Okay, perfect. If you go to the help page and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you got legal resources. And of course, that's going to open a whole new screen. Let me just move that over there. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So once you're on the legal resources page, you can actually see all the different royalties, terms, and all the agreements and things. There is a ACX independent contractor agreement. Now, once you click on that, is it going to open a whole new page? Okay, good, it didn't. You can download the PDF, and it's basically, here is even a further breakdown: narration services, engineering services, editing services, depending on what you want to offer, right? These are downloadable, editable PDFs that you can use as a contract for audiobook services. You can change, you can insert your name, you can change ACX to the client's name. It's fully editable. You can download it, save it. I would also recommend, I don't know if they've updated the one in ACX recently, but you also want to add an AI clause or an AI rider that you do not consent for your voice to be used in any way, shape, or form for machine learning, AI voice cloning, all of that stuff. I highly recommend adding that if they haven't included that. Just as an FYI. But there is some resources readily available to you there. And then also, what are you going to charge? Do you have that down? Do you have your per finished hour? Are you open to royalty share? Are you open to royalty share plus? Do you even know what these terms mean? I'm not going to go fully into all of that stuff today. I have tons of videos on that stuff, but have an idea of what you're going to charge, what you're open to, because you will be asked. Although if you're reaching out to clients directly, per finished hours, they're going to be the way to go. And I would also highly recommend, however you decide or whatever you guys decide. Hang on, how do I want to say this? When you come to an agreement on price, also include to the client that you're going to collect a percentage up front, because that will dissuade anyone from scamming you. And I would highly recommend using this approach on ACX as well. And I collect 50% up front, and then the remainder is due once the client is happy, any revisions are made or anything like that. But if 50% is too much, and I totally get it, you can break it up into, 33% 3 times. You could do 20% up front and the remainder, however you want to break it up, but get something up front, because that will protect you as the producer, because we know there's a whole lot of work involved before the record button ever gets pushed. So that will cover your time that you've already spent reading through the book, prepping the manuscript, all of the things, researching how to do certain accents, as we do. If the author decides to go a different direction, or if they decide to, pump the brakes on the production altogether, whatever it is. But that protects you and covers your time. So, I think that was all I wanted to mention beforehand. I do have a PDF for you guys too. Let's see if I can get this back on here. Let's stop sharing that and let's do... Where's my PDF? There it is. Also in this PDF, for those of you that are in my Launchpad Platinum, formerly Platinum Launchpad group, I've put this PDF in our resource, in our group resource folder, so you guys can access this right now. But this is basically an outline of what to do when you when you're looking to reach out to a client directly, and including also a little bit of email templates. And I don't recommend copying, pasting these and, shotgunning these out to a bunch of different authors. Personalize them a bit, and we'll get into that. I'm getting ahead of myself. See, this is how I roll. So a direct outreach cheat sheet. You want to target indie authors, small publishers, and audiobook production companies. You want to look for books without audiobooks on Amazon or Goodreads. You want to personalize your outreach, like I just mentioned, reference the book title or genre. You also want to add maybe something personal, maybe how the book, resonates with you or how you feel connected to it, why you feel that you would be the best option for being the voice of this book. I think, did that make sense? I feel like I'm scatterbrained already. See, my brain's going 50 different directions. Lead with value. I think explaining how the audiobook will help sales and reach new audiences, I think in this day and age, audiobook is a standard for as a version of a book, because you have, first we had the print copy. We had either a paperback or a hardcover, right? And then we got ebooks. Audiobooks, that version of the book is continuing to grow and has been growing year after year after year. And so now it's become pretty much an expected standard, right? To have these 3 different versions of a book, the print copy, the ebook, and an audiobook, right? So what you're offering to the client is value, is another way to grow their sales and to reach a wider audience, right? Keep the email short, confident, and professional. Avoid desperation, discounts, or over-explaining your background. Keep it short and sweet. You are confident. You are a professional. You are an audiobook narrator, and you're offering a service to someone who may need it, right? So once you have targeted a specific author that you would like to reach out to and they don't have an audiobook version of their book, you feel some kind of connection to the book, you would feel comfortable producing this audiobook. Maybe it's something that you really enjoy reading on a personal level, right? Maybe it's the genre that you enjoy the most. Try a template sort of like this. Hi, author name. I came across your book, the book title, and you can even say where you came across it. Maybe you found it on Amazon. Maybe you found it on Goodreads or somewhere else. And I noticed it doesn't have an audiobook version, right? Or however you want to phrase it. I'm a professional audiobook narrator and producer, and I help authors turn their books into engaging, high-quality audiobooks listeners actually finish, right? And of course, you can massage this, but this is basically what you would want to say. And I highly recommend rewriting this so it's personal to you, but this is really all it needs to be. If you're open to it, I'd love to share a short sample or discuss whether audio could be a good fit for your book, right? It kind of leaves it open-ended for them to respond. But we already know that having an audiobook is going to be a good fit for them, right? All the best, your name, right? And that's all it needs to be. And then we have a follow-up. And I would say, and if you guys have a different time frame than I'm about to say, then please put it in the comments. Share with us. I mean, anything I'm saying here, if you have something that works, or you have an opinion, you have an insight that you'd like to share with everyone else. Again, I do this so we can share information and grow together. But I think 7 to 10 days, if you don't hear anything back from them, you could follow up with another email, short and sweet. Hi, author name. Just following up on my previous message in case it got buried, because it happens, right? Sometimes spam just kind of takes over. If you're still exploring audiobook options for their book, I'd be happy to answer questions or send over a quick sample. Thanks for your time. And I always include, thank you for your time, thank you for your consideration, because just like us and every other person on the planet, we consider our time valuable, right? So always be gracious and conscientious of the time that they have taken to actually open and read your email, right? So always thank them for their time or their consideration or whatever. Always be professional. So here's basically a 30-day direct client action plan. So week 1, you can go through and identify a bunch of audiobooks or authors who don't have audiobooks in a specific book or genre that you're looking at. And then week 2, you can send out 10 to 15 or whatever number that you want to set as your target of emails out during that week. You could even do it per day during that week, depending on how aggressive you want to be and getting your schedule filled. Week 3, follow up with any of the non-responders from week 2, and then maybe send out 10 to 15, however many more that week. Week 4, respond to interested authors, send samples, schedule calls, track responses, and refine your message based on feedback. Repeat monthly to build momentum in long-term relationships. And not only long-term relationships with hopefully authors that have written more than one book, but also referrals from those authors too. So as you can see, doing a little bit of work up front and then continuing with something relatively simple, if you have a plan that's sort of laid out like this, could really keep your schedule booked, a little bit further down the line. You're planting the seeds today. As I always say, you guys are like, oh God, here she goes with her woo-woo stuff. But those seeds that you plant today, you can reap that harvest in a month, 2 months, next year, but you have to stay consistent. You have to have a plan, and you can continue revising this plan as things progress, right? And start changing some of these things that fit you based on, the feedback that you're getting or the return emails that you're getting, anything like that. You can revise this to fit your schedule and your needs, but have a plan and make it consistent and stay on it. Right? Consistency is key. Yeah, see, consistency beats perfection. One thoughtful email per day can outperform hundreds of auditions over time. And that is the thing, it's over time. So you may not see instant results, but you will see results as long as you're consistent and stick with it. Right? So that is how you find them and what to say to them. Hang on, let me get my poll back up here. Fear of being ignored. I think fear of being ignored is really just, our ego of being ignored. As an audiobook producer, you have to think of it as a business. And if I was a business that was, maybe I was detailing cars and I decided that I wanted to market, so I'm going to pay someone to create an advertisement for my business, and I'm going to send that out to 1,000 people. But 100 people responded. Am I worried about those 900 that didn't respond? Am I worried that they don't like me? You know what I mean? There's going to be a return on your investment, but you have to stay consistent. But you can't take it personally if they don't respond to you. Maybe your email got buried. Maybe they are just overwhelmed with many other audiobook narrators who beat you to the punch. And maybe they're just like, oh God, I've already selected someone in the middle of, and they don't bother responding to tell you that an audiobook is already in production. You just can't let that stuff get, don't take it personally. Don't let that get you down. Don't worry about being ignored. Right? As most of the time, it probably has nothing to do with you. Maybe they're just not ready. Maybe they didn't see it. Turning replies into work. Okay, so what happens if they actually respond to you and they say, yeah, I'd like a short sample? You say, okay, great. Send over the manuscript. And then that would be a great time, once you have the manuscript, to not only select a small short sample to record for them, but also verify the word count, have an idea of what you're going to charge, and the structure of that. Are you gonna collect 20% upfront, 30% upfront, 50% upfront? And then have an idea of how you're going to collect that. I don't think we even touched on that. I use PayPal Business. So with PayPal Business, I sort of created that at the very beginning as a business checking account before I had a business checking account. So that way, personal money and business money stayed separate, right? But with PayPal Business, you can create invoices. So you would send an invoice for that 20%, 30%, whatever it is that you decide to collect up front. But once you get to that point, you've recorded the sample for them. You have an idea of what you're going to charge and what your pricing structure includes. Then you send back that sample. Tell them that with that sample, you can include in the email, this was my initial interpretation. Of course, I'm going to, read through the entire book, but based on what I've skimmed through, this is what I've come up with. I am fully open to your feedback. I can change the pace or the tone, the character voices. I am open to what you envision for this book. But this is just a sampling of my narration style, basically. And then once they return an email with that, yeah, you sound great, let's go. That email is when you say, okay, I see your manuscript shows a X amount of words that equates to, whatever your price is. I do collect X amount up front, and I will send you an invoice via PayPal Business or whatever your invoicing system is. That way you're setting the expectation for the author. They're not sitting there going, okay, great, this is scary. I love their voice, but what's next? How does this work? You can outline all of that stuff in even an author welcome package. And we've talked about that before on these live streams, having a welcome package outlining how the audiobook process goes, right? Once you get the manuscript, you read through it, you prep the manuscript, you record, you send them the files, all of that stuff. I feel like I'm forgetting stuff, so please ask questions if I'm not making any sense or if I'm going too fast. I'm trying to remember everything. Let me look at my notes here. Oh, also where to find authors, Facebook author groups, social media. Right? I'm always pushing you guys to get on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, even LinkedIn. And you can find authors, indie audiobook publishing companies, maybe like brand new authors. You can find all of those people on social media just by searching. And you can reach out to them. Small presses, audiobook production companies. I think that's what I already said. But you want to target authors who already sell books but don't yet have an audiobook on a specific book that you can see. What I would not do is like spam or mass emailing best-selling authors. There's a good chance that their publishers handle all of that stuff, so you probably don't want to bug them. But you want to reach out to or target newer authors. You don't want to spam agents. You don't want to pitch them also without doing research. So again, don't use the template that I've shared with you and just, get onto Amazon, put in their brand new authors and just, shotgun emails to every single one of them. You don't want to do that either. And I think another note that I had was in terms of how you word the template or the initial reach out and the follow-up email. Think of your email as a solution to a problem they're having, right? You're not saying, please hire me. You're not saying, we don't want it to sound like you're desperate or anything, right? Focus more on the fact that this audiobook is going to help them increase sales on this book. It's going to target new audiences. It will sell. Maybe you could even look at other books that are similar to theirs and give them some statistics on how well that audiobook is doing, just to give them an idea. Because of course that's going to be a concern for an author. If I invest all this money into making an audiobook, am I going to see a return on that income? Of course that's going to be their biggest concern. So, also, is the narrator that I'm hiring, are they professional and easy to work with? So of course they're going to Google search you. So this is where having all of those profiles on the free pay-to-plays, as we're always talking about, having a website, having all of that stuff. So if they do pop your name into a Google search, they can see that you are a credible professional voice actor. Let's see. Let's see. Did I miss anything? I think that was just about it. So let's go over to the comments and see if we've got some questions. It looks like, I don't even know if I'm live on Instagram. Anyway, let's look at TikTok really quick, because I think I did see some questions in my peripheral. Let's see, really quick. Do we have questions? And please ask, you guys. Mr. Talent on TikTok says, everybody keeps telling me I need to write a book. Well, write a book. Write that book. Write that book. Absolutely. Jazz says, how did you learn to edit your recordings? I would say half trial and error and half YouTube University, basically. I followed other voice actors and audiobook narrators on YouTube, got into their peer groups or their, in Anthony's case, his VoiceOver Academy. A whole lot of trial and error. A whole lot of trial and error, really. Okay, that was the only question. If you have questions, if you guys are watching me on TikTok, please, if you have questions, please ask. It's what I'm here for. All right. Oh, Sean, sorry, I skipped one of you. Good morning, all from Nashville. Sean says this will be a gold mine, I think. So far, I've only contacted authors I've met through networking, just like we have a group, so do many authors, and some have introduced me. Exactly. Networking is going to be huge. Right? And keep in mind that when you're directly emailing an author, that's only one way to market yourself. You can also go live on social media. You can create content for social media, whether that's YouTube, and YouTube has done very well with connecting me with authors. For me, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, I think, or X, or whatever the heck it's called now. But making yourself visible is a way to market yourself. Auditioning is a way to market yourself. But networking, yes, is huge. Paul says, hi, Angela et al. I haven't done much direct contact with authors other than as follow-up to auditions I wasn't awarded. I have quite good success with the following process. Number 1, comprehensively log all auditions, date, etc. 2, revisit approximately 6 months later. 3, check whether an audiobook has been produced. If not, contact the author and see if they're still interested. I like it. That's a good process. And I like the idea, and that was one thing that I realized that I omitted. If you're contacting authors directly, or clients of any type, really, for voiceover, audiobook, whatever it is, keep track of who you're contacting, where you found them, the name of their book, the date you emailed them, the date you followed up. And you can do this with a CRM, right? As we've talked about many times before on my channel, having a CRM, customer relations management. My brain is oatmeal today. Or Google spreadsheet. You can make an easy, simple Google spreadsheet to keep track of who you're contacting, where you found them, book title, all those things. Because just like Paul had said, if they don't respond to you in 6 months, you can even circle back and respond to them. Even if you haven't auditioned for them, you can circle back to them in 6 months and say, hey, again. If it's the holidays, if the holidays are coming, Christmas, New Year's, you can reach out and just say, hey, wanted to say happy holidays, and they might just go. Because I think for For sales, I think, what was the number? It's either they have to see your face 5, 6, or 7 times. I forget what the number is before they make the connection or they feel safe or comfortable with hiring you. So that's a lot of touch points. So that's a lot of emails. That's a lot of, times that they have to see you to gain a little bit of trust to reach back out. Ken says, kind of a timely subject. I was contacted by an author who listened to my last big project, and I was suggested to him by the previous author, too. He was wondering about other options outside of ACX. Yeah, you don't have to use ACX. You could, I'm trying to think, are you talking about as far as publishing or as far as doing business on? I guess is what I'm wondering. So I know how to answer that question. But you could get audiobooks on YouTube, Spotify. I mean, there's a ton of different publishing opportunities for audiobooks apart from Audible. Audible isn't the only one. There's Findaway and tons of others. Academy Voices, again, is another one. That's an ACX alternative. Ken says, I've been reading the book he wrote and have started chatting with him. Looks good so far. He needs to edit the Kindle version for a few errors, but suggestions on how to effectively deal is good. But Ken is Team Replay. Well, I hope this helped, Ken. Go Team Replay. Paul says, good morning. Sean says, don't forget to like, subscribe. Yep, please do all the YouTube-y things or video Instagram-y things or TikTok-y things. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning. Good morning to you. Review Exchange Group says, for me, there's the element of time and also knowing where the best fishing holes are. I'd like to reach out more and make it more of a habit. Right now, my reaching out is by audition on ACX. I'm debating on pumping the brakes on this tangent. I think... No, I'm going to pump the brakes on it. Pamela says, good morning. I'm keeping a list of Pacific Northwest writers to connect, and you don't have to limit it to writers in your area. You can search for authors globally. That is the beauty of the internet, not for you specifically, Pam, but for anybody watching, because the internets can deliver anywhere. Dylan says, I say it every time the subject comes up, and I'll continue to say it with my whole chest. Go to cons. Comic cons, crime cons, anime cons, etc. I've gotten my most frequent and highest paying jobs from cons. You get to meet the rights holder face to face and maybe even give them a live read to show them what you can do. See, I'm hoping you guys are picking up that there's a whole lot more out there in terms of ways to find work than just ACX or platforms in general, right? As a business owner, you got to be ready and willing and able to go get it, right? Don't think like an employee where you're waiting to be told what to do or waiting to be told that, this is the process for the day. You're the CEO. You make those decisions. You're not limited to a platform. You can do all the things that I just mentioned. You can go and find your own clients. You have my permission. Go do it. Alexander says, first of all, thank you for everything you do. Secondly, where did you get that version of the Blimp song for your intro? I love it and it makes me happy. I'm not sure what the Blimp song is, but I got my music for my intro and my outro from Storyblocks. Colleen is here. Hi, Colleen. Makes me happy too, the song. Hi, Angela. Hello, all. Hope everyone is well today. Happy to be here. Where hope? Oatmeal brain. I'm happy you're here too. More coffee is needed. Craig's basement voice says, hiya. Hope all is well with you and yours. Morning, Craig. Glad you're here. Mary Lynn is here. Hey, hi from frigid Fairbanks. The temps are cold, but the family is warm. I said fear of rejection, but I have a sense that it's a matter of numbers. It is a matter of numbers. It is a matter of numbers for sure. Just like any other business, you know, you got to market. And obviously, the more you market, the more opportunities you have to come across someone who's looking for your services. Sorry, I don't know if you guys on TikTok, my boyfriend's blowing me up right now for some reason. Let's see. Questions on TikTok. I can't see with the background. Janelle Daylong says, how and where do you get your website rolling? I have many scripts to upload. How do I get them? I use Wix to create my website, if that's what you're asking. How and where do you get your website rolling? I have many. If I have many scripts to upload, how do I get them? I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I use Wix to start my website, and it's really, really simple. I mean, once you're there, all you got to do is select a template, and then it says insert picture here, insert title here, insert. I mean, it's just kind of follow along. Let's see. Any other questions on TikTok? Okay. Megan is here. Hey, Megan. To Dylan, what is your approach to them? Jerry says that look of disapproval at the end. Was that me? Alexander says, question. I love the videos you have concerning how you use your editing system. Will you be doing more on the how-to concerning these systems? You mean the newer videos about just like quick how-tos on Adobe Audition? I'm planning on making more. Absolutely. Is there something specific that you wanted to learn how to do on your DAW? Because now would be the time to tell me so I can make something on it. But I'm glad you like them. Dylan said, I had business cards made from Vistaprint, and I just walk around until I see an author with work that looks like something I would be good at and shake their hand and give them my card. If they have audiobooks already, and then I ask about their work, if they are interested in hearing a snippet of loud or out loud, and then take their card to follow up in a week or so. There you go. See? Vanessa says, interesting discussion. Good. I'm hoping so. And we've talked about networking a lot. I mean, seriously, just about everything we've touched on today, I've got a video or 2 or 5 about on one of my playlists. And the last time we talked about networking, we talked about not only business cards, but then having maybe a QR code that the client just takes their phone and they scan the QR code and it takes them right to your website. A t-shirt that's got your website and your business logo on it, and maybe a catchphrase of some sort, and walk around the con with that on, or a hat or something, right? Maybe all of them. A pen, perhaps, with your business and website on it, some sort of swag, right? Have all that stuff with you, or at least something that you can give to the person that you're meeting. Let's see. On Instagram, we have Mag Hatter said, if you're on Audible already with work you aren't necessarily proud of, is that more of a thing of unchangeable history, or do you know artists who have changed names? There are a lot of audiobook narrators that use pseudonyms for particular kind of audiobooks. Maybe they're a little bit on the spicy side or something, then they use a pseudonym for that. But I think having work that you're not necessarily proud of, mainly in the beginning of your career, we all have that. I think it's just a matter of, it's now just a reminder of where you started, right? And getting out there and doing more audiobooks, producing more audiobooks with what you can do now and how much you've improved, I think is more important than, ruminating on what was. right? Because that's not what is current. That's not what is now. That's what it was then. So, but that's pretty typical, and I wouldn't ruminate on it. Just keep moving forward, is what I would say. Rebecca is here. Good morning, Rebecca. Good afternoon. I always get stuck at knowing what to say, especially if it's a cold email. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, as I just highlighted, it doesn't have to be anything lengthy at all. It could be short, sweet, to the point. You know, it's just a friendly, hey, hiya, you've got a problem. I have a solution. Are you interested? You want to play? Let's go. You know? Let's see. Vanessa says paying a percentage up front. Yep. Yeah, I implemented that probably 7 years ago. I have never looked back. 50% up front. And if 50% up front, again, is too much, then, you know, maybe 30%. Because an audiobook takes a good 30 days or so. I mean, if it's a, you know, medium to large size book, it's going to take 30 to 45 days. So that way the author will have time to get the remainder of that money pooled by then, right? But at least they'll have an idea because you've already set all the expectations up front, as we discussed. This is how much it's going to be. I'm going to invoice you now for 30%. And then the remaining 70% is going to be done or due when the audiobook is done in roughly 30 days, 45 days, however long, right? That's why it's important to set those expectations up front. Sean says, I have never had somebody back out after paying a deposit. Nope, I haven't either. Have you, Angela? Have you handled the follow-up? No, actually, I have. I have once. Because it was, I'm trying to remember, we just couldn't get on the same page as far as narration style. So, but that was the one time. But after somewhere, I think 276 audiobooks that I've produced, that's one. Dylan says, even a free website from Wix with a couple of relevant samples would work. Exactly. Let's check TikTok. Does anybody have questions on TikTok? Doop, 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 doop. Janelle, am I saying that right? Like, get them uploaded together as like samples, like demo samples for your audiobook narration. If the website service that you're using, the website host or whatever it is that you chose for your website, if they don't have a place for you to upload audiobook samples, like audio samples, I'm trying to think of all the different ways you could do that now. You could create a YouTube account and make them into videos with even just a black screen and then share the link to those as a sample. Or you could, there's all kinds of different services like VoiceZam. Most websites, if I remember correctly, most of the websites that I looked at will have different tiers or different sort of templates for what you want to do with a website, unless you're working with like WordPress or something. But if you're, you know, like just say, for example, Wix, they have like the basic plan, they have the music plan, the premium plus plan. I mean, they'll have different kinds of plans that'll cover or have widgets for whatever it is that you are trying to do with the website. And one of those will be like an audio player or even a video player. And then you could upload audio samples to that. There's a gnat. Get out of here, gnat. Never get a break from the gnats. You got your answer? Okay, good. Good. Great. That's awesome. I hope I understood it correctly. Come here, gnat. Review Exchange Group says, I almost always include at the bottom of my auditions or emails to authors a link to my narrator page on Audible. It's kind of like bling, makes your offer sparkle a bit more, at least I hope so. The only thing with links that I find to be problematic in emails is that, especially with Google and some other mail services, if they see a link in the email that you're sending to someone, that might trigger that service to put that message in spam. That is the only con, I think, with attaching your website link, your Audible page link, an IMDb page if you have one. If you're linking anything to an email, you're taking the risk of being thrown into the spam folder, from my experience. But you could list it, I suppose, in that initial email. Like for me, I would use, I'm the voice of 250 plus titles on Audible, something like that. So it shows that you are experienced, but without triggering that spam reflex with the email service. Rebecca said to add your socials or your website info to your signature. The email is still simple, but they can access more detailed info on you if they want. And I love that too. And I used to do that, and I think I still do that. Does Google? Oh my God, maybe I need to go change that. But if you're sending out an initial email to someone, you're taking the risk of having it thrown into spam if you have anything linked. So I wonder if a QR code would. But those are just as risky as links. We'll have to do some testing on that, I think, you guys. We'll have to do some testing on that. Mag Hatter on Instagram says, how many books will you limit yourself to producing at one time? I was burnt out at 3, physically and emotionally, or rather vocally. I wouldn't schedule them all at the same time. I would schedule them back to back. Now, if you have 3 authors reach out to you all at one time, I wouldn't say, yeah, I can have all of them. I wouldn't tell each individual author, yeah, I can have your book done in 30 days. I would tell them, maybe the one that reached you or replied second and third, I would tell them, yes, based on my current workload, I can have your book started on X day. And that could be a couple days after you finish the first one. I would schedule them back to back and not try to do multiple books concurrently at the same time, because like you said, that would lead to burnout and vocal fry and probably more damage than good. I would definitely schedule them back to back if you can, not all at the same time. But yes, I think we've all found that out the hard way. Let's see. Shauna says, greetings from Minnesota. I use PayPal also and currently only working with ACX. Do you invoice the rights holder with ACX projects also? Yes. If you're doing per finished hour books on ACX, you need to have a way to invoice them because ACX will not collect the monies for you. The only time that ACX collects monies for you is when it's a royalty share or royalty share plus. And the plus part, meaning your per finished hour rate, that's the plus, you need to invoice for. But royalty share is the only time that Audible or ACX is going to collect money for you. So you need to have a way to invoice the clients. And I just use PayPal Business, but you could use, what are all the invoicing services again, you guys? There's waves.com, there's QuickBooks, there's a handful of them out there, but PayPal I use because it's accepted on most of the other pay-to-plays and freelance marketplace platforms that I already use as a way to withdraw money from the platform. That way it's all in one place and it's easier at tax time to figure out what's coming in, what's going out. PayPal is just a more widely accepted form of collecting money and spending money. So it just keeps track of, income and expenses a little bit easier for me. So I want to just kind of streamline the process as much as possible, right? Mary Lynn says, I love the idea of an author welcome packet. Yeah, I think, I know we talked about it in Launchpad a couple of times. I'm wondering, did anybody put I think there might be a example author welcome packet in our group resources folder for Launchpad. I'll have to check and look. Craig says, hi, did you post the PDF links or am I the lost thinking you did? I can't seem to find it. If you go to the Launchpad homepage, if you're in a VO's Journey Academy, if you go to the Launchpad landing page where the calendar is, did I update the calendar? I hope I did. Anyway, side note, squirrel. One of the links off to the right side is the script resource page. It's in there. I hope that makes sense, Craig. Eric Grams. Hi, Angela and A-Team. I'm trying to implement a lot of this in TikTok. I've had some great conversations with authors, would have an audiobook from it, but she's in Australia and we're not sure how to yet. What do you mean? You mean as far as her doing business on ACX? She doesn't have to use ACX. She can use Academy Voices. She can use Findaway Voices. Your only job, Eric, what your job is to produce the audiobook and send the files to the client. And then she can take the files and do whatever she wants with them. Take them to whatever audiobook distributor. I don't know why that word always screws me up. Distributor. She can take them to whatever audiobook distribution platform, service, company that she wants to use. Your only job is to produce the audiobook. But if she's looking for you to help her find one, then, I mean, as we've gone through before, all she would have to do is really just do a Google search. Audiobook, distribution companies or production companies, and she can go to them and say, hey, I have a completed produced audiobook. Can you distribute these files for me? Can you distribute my audiobook for me? Or, because you're in Academy Voices, you could just direct her to Academy Voices. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Strange Storm Cat. Good morning, Cat. Alexander says, question. How about when you're brand new and you don't really have a resume or any experience? What's the best approach? What I did when I had absolutely nothing to showcase, I just talked about, again, customer focused. You're solving a problem for them. So my solution was, a sound-treated recording space, broadcast quality equipment, and I described my voice. Basically, nurturing, motherly, warm, butter on a biscuit, however you want to approach it, but focus on what you sound like, what your sound quality is. You could talk about your equipment that you have in your studio. Focus more on that. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you've done before. It matters if your voice now, your narration narration style now fits what they're looking for. And if your price point fits what they're looking for, right? So don't focus so much on, I don't have anything to show. Who cares? Focus on what you got now and how to solve their problem, right? Don't get too hung up on letting the ego take over, because the ego is going to hold you back from, they don't like me and they're going to think I suck. And that's also imposter syndrome. Don't let all that stuff infiltrate. Don't let it in. Just focus on the now and solving the customer's problem now. And their problem is they don't have an audiobook on this wonderful book that they've just written. So just focus on that. Right? Tangent over. Meg says, I was just getting ready to ask the same question as Alexander. He's a mind reader. Meredith says, once the audio is recorded, how do I get the audio to an audiobook platform for sale? Like I just mentioned, seriously, go to Google and search for audiobook distribution companies or production companies. They can probably point you the right direction. Or come to Academy Voices. That's what we do. It's an audiobook production company that is built and run by voice actors. Myself. A lot of people in the chat are also on the roster. There you go. Done. Solved. Review Exchange Group says, regarding frequency of emailing, think of all the emails you get from the same people, sometimes more often than weekly. I narrated Email Profit System last year. Really good. Want review copy? I mean, that is another thing. I would say all of the audiobooks that I have narrated, most of what I produce is nonfiction. So a lot of self-help, a lot of relationship advice, a lot of marketing advice and things like that. We pick up a lot from that stuff, from narrating that stuff. So use that knowledge that you're gaining. But I mean, share the sauce, dude. If you've got the sauce about, the email profit system, share it with the group. Don't hog it all. Sage says, good afternoon, Angela and everyone. Sorry I'm late, but I did bring cinnamon rolls and hot chocolate. I like the way you think, Sage. I wasn't sure which answer to pick since I haven't started yet. Well, even better. I hope that everything said today will at least start you down the right path the right way the first time, right? You won't fall on your face like most of us did. Rin on TikTok, thank you for all the likes. I love you. You're awesome. You amazing. Let's see. Questions on TikTok. Amber says, when you first started in narration, what type of content did you post on your social media? My first foray into social media was on YouTube. And what I did with my YouTube channel is that I targeted new voice actors and audiobook narrators because I wanted to help. I wanted to share my journey more or less and share what I had learned up to that point. And from there, it just sort of grew into what you see now, 7 years later. But with that, I had other companies and authors, I had clients find me through my YouTube channel. So what I tell people to do on TikTok, Instagram, all of these things is maybe what you could do is go live, like I'm doing, in your studio, recording a sample piece, something interesting that you found on Reddit. You could share the morning meditation. You could share, you're out walking the pups in the park and you're, look how beautiful this sunrise is, out walking the pups. And hey, by the way, my schedule is open for audiobook narration starting February 1st, however you want to phrase it. Don't overthink it, I guess is what I'm saying. Whatever you want to. But I think you need to make it, it needs to be a nice mix of here's what I do and here's how I sound, and a little bit of you as an individual, a little bit about you. You're a real person, right? A little bit of that, like, behind the scenes stuff. As a new narrator, how much per finished hour should someone charge? Slow down, Angela. I started at $50 per finished hour, but you don't have to. You can start at whatever you want to, right? Industry standard is $250 per finished hour, but as we know, that involves anywhere from 3 to 10 hours of work. That one finished hour, which is why it is $250 per finished hour. But you can start wherever you want, right? I have, hang on. Has it been an hour already? Holy Moses. Hold on. TikTok's make me do the puzzle thing. I've had narrators start at $50 per finished hour. I've had narrators that I've been working with that started at $100, $150. I mean, it's really your prerogative. There really isn't a wrong answer. You just start wherever you feel is comfortable. I didn't charge a whole lot in the beginning because I felt like I didn't know a whole lot. I was very inexperienced. So I didn't want to charge someone full price for my inexperience. I was I looked at it as paid internship, right? But charge whatever you want to, whatever you think is appropriate. You could go to a rate guide like GVAA or the rate guide we have on a VO's Journey Academy and use those parameters if you want to. It's up to you. Sorry, my phone is bouncing. Okay, let's see. Rebecca says to Dylan, my brain totally glitched reading that. Help me learn more character work and I'll help you with whatever. Let's see, do we have questions? Jerry says, I'm likely going to watch this one on repeat for a few days until it all clicks. Then I'm going to actually do it. I think you should actually do it like now. What day is today? Tuesday. So you could start week 1 today. Day 1 of week 1 today. Right meow. Paul says part 3 disappeared. Oh, 4, this might involve a bit of detective work if the original audition was via ACX. Might need to try a personal website, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. 5, I've got 4 books this way. And this was from what you had stated as your process earlier. And I would say, just to your point, Paul, do a little bit of, Scooby-Doo on who it is that you're reaching out to. What kind of books they write. You could even look them up on Amazon and see their sales rank. You could do all of that stuff because you don't want for me anyway, I wouldn't want if someone was going to take the time to reach out to me, I'd want it to feel a little bit personalized, like it's not a copy and paste spam. Because there's nothing worse than that. Because I get those too. I get those on all the platforms. Hi, dear, or hi, a completely different name. Hi, Melissa. I saw your profile and I wanted to reach out to you. I'm like, oh, that makes me feel really good. Right? That's the last thing you want to do is make your first impression really stink with this author. So do a little research and, personalize that first outreach. It's going to make all the difference. Word of Mouth Guy says, there is a site I found that has authors and narrators. Name escapes me, but I think I found it by following a fellow VO's socials. I started filling it and got distracted and now forgot until now. If you think of it, let us know. Are you being facetious? And it's ACX. Ken says, did suggest Academy? Yeah, Academy Voices. That's right. That's our audiobook production company. Joel says, hey, Angela. Hi, Joel. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hey, Angela, brought some donuts. Knowing what to say in the email is always the toughest part for me. Yeah, and I think we get ourselves stuck in analysis paralysis when it comes to that. Our brains are making it much harder than it really is. I mean, as you saw on the template I just showed you, it's like, 3 sentences, 4 sentences? Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Ramos Audio says, I send tweets to authors. Got a couple of bites. There you go. Reach out on social media. Ramos says, literally, hello, I want to be your narrator. There you go. That's a subject line. Right? We're talking about audiobooks over on Tiki Talkies. If you have any questions, please ask. Specifically, reaching out to authors directly, like skipping the platforms altogether. Black Bob Matters says, hello, everyone. I have a few recently finished projects on ACX. Thinking to get my glasses. Would it be wise to send potential clients one of the free codes to check out your work? I don't know. Me personally, I don't think so. Personally, I would not. I mean, I could see where you're going with that, but me personally, I probably would not. Other people in the chat might disagree, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You guys do what you want to do, but I personally wouldn't. Professor Tracy says, good morning from Rochester. When recording, is there a speed to talk for certain conditions of feeling? I would think so. I think when we're excited about something, we generally talk faster because we're excited. Or if there's drama, we need to slow down and really, paint that dramatic scene. Then you need to slow down. So I would not overthink that either. I mean, think of what how you personally would react in a certain situation. And what's most important in that particular situation is understanding the script, right? Again, who are you as the narrator? Who are you talking to, and why are you saying it? Right? You're not just reading words. You're painting a picture for someone not following along. Your job is to give that book life, to give it breath, right? So if the scene is calling for drama, if the scene is calling for excitement or sadness or happiness or whatever it is, let that come through naturally, if that makes sense. But this is stuff that we talk about and practice together all the time in Launchpad. And if you want to join, again, as always, the link is in the description to join our academy. Amy Ruthie says, Angela, thanks for all that you do on your channel, and thanks for confirming that Wix makes it easy to create a website. Super simple. Super simple. Took me like 10 minutes. Not what you see today, 10 minutes, but initially it was 10 minutes, and then I filled it out over time. I was working on my site this morning, still trying to pick out a template. I know there's a ton of them. There's a ton of different colors, like formats. I mean, as far as where everything is, I mean, there's tons of different templates. Alexander says, don't even have a DAW yet. Been watching you for a couple of months, and I finally had my surgery last week, and it's another 3 weeks of recovery. So yes, I am a true beginner. We all were. That's nothing to be ashamed of or to think yourself as less. We all started in the same place. So welcome. Hope we can help. Word of mouth guy says Vistaprint. Thanks, Dylan. Been wanting to go old school and make some cards. Everything is digi now. You see the digital band you wear for a business card that has all the links? Yeah, I saw that too. What was that called? Like a cue card? What was it called? Somebody had mentioned it before. Amy Ruthie says, watching your live is my break from the website stuff. Question. Do you think it's okay to dive right into doing audiobooks when you're a newbie? Yes, I did. A lot of us did. Most of us did. I mean, how else are you not going to be a newbie? Yes. Yes. Dylan says, my wife made me a t-shirt with my QR code that says, I make money with my mouth. Ask me how. Oh, my God. Everybody steal that. We got to give props to Dylan's wife. If that doesn't create some kind of sense of, I need to know exactly what that is, curiosity, then, oh my God. Tell your wife, I think she's a genius. Plain and simple. Review Exchange Group says, how about interacting with local writers or author groups? Yes. Maybe speaking on how an audiobook's created? Yes. Possibly such a talk at a local library? Yes. It's all promotion and can't hurt. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're on the right track. Remember, you don't need someone's permission to do these things. As an audiobook narrator producer, you are a business owner. You have to treat it like a business. So you make the decisions. If you already found these ideas, you've already have these ideas, so go do them. You have my permission. Go forth and make audiobooks. Make connections with clients. Pernerna Voices says, is this Lele? I think this is Lele. How do I figure out what sets me apart, especially when I am only starting off? How do I figure out what sets me apart? Yeah. Don't worry about what sets you apart. Just describe your voice. I mean, all they need to do is hear you, and they can see how you're different from maybe anyone else that they've heard. Mary Lynn says, you need a community. I think she's in. Isn't it Lele? I think she's in there. Try Vio's Journey. You'll get a lot of feedback and encouragement from peer professionals. Beep, 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 boop, boop, boop. ACX is in Australia. Good. There you go. Eric Grimes says, good to know. Still trying to figure out how to work outside of ACX. ACX is not the end-all be-all. ACX is really just one audiobook platform. There's a whole wide world out there for audiobook producers. You are not beholden to ACX. That is not your only option. Let's see. Will on Instagram says, I build in Wix all the time. I currently have 3 sites running. Look at you. Good for you. I mean, 1 is enough for me. 1 is enough to manage for me. Good Lord, 3? Let's see. Eric says, is it possible to do profit share in Academy Voices? Yes. Royalty share plus? Yeah. You can pretty much do it however you want to, just like ACX. Review Exchange Group says, don't overthink email content. AI is very good and helpful there. Yeah, ChatGPT or any of the AI resources that can help you write copy. Stick your ideas into that and see what it gives you. Yeah, for sure. AI can be your friend if you use it the right way. Eric says, Review Exchange Group, good to know. I'll do some more investigation and talk to her about it. By the way, for everyone, if you're not in Launchpad yet, do it. It's invaluable. And press the like button. Yes. If you don't want to join a VO's Journey Academy and hang out with us and most of the chat in Launchpad every Thursday night, at the very least, go join Academy Voices. That's our audiobook production company, and join as a narrator, right? And that's additional work for you. There's no scams. There's none of that stuff because it's all run by us. We're voice actors, right? But if you join a VO's Journey Academy, again, the link is in the description. If you join that, then you get membership to Academy Voices for free. It's included. And I almost forgot to mention it. I can't believe I almost forgot to mention it. Academy Voices, we are opening Academy Voices After Dark, which is going to be the spicy side of audiobook production. So I put out a message in Discord a couple days ago for those of you that are in a VO's Journey Academy. If you're interested in recording or producing spicy audiobooks, please DM me in Discord your pseudonym if you use one, a sample, a team, a team member like a partner, like a duet or a dual partner if you have one. Send me all those details in Discord so I can get you on the roster. We're currently building out that side of Academy Voices right now. But I'm telling you, at some point, Academy Voices, we're going to do everything and anything audiobook related. So get over there. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all the love and support on TikTok. You guys are amazing. Just make sure I'm not missing any questions. Okay. Let's see. Jason says, thanks for another great episode. You are definitely the audiobook guru. The imposter syndrome just goes, no, I'm not. I'm just another producer, just like everyone else. My face is in your face. That's really the only thing. And I learn so much every time I tune in, but I'm glad. Vicky says, do you get books for British narrators at all in Academy Voices? I know that we've done books with British voices, but to answer your question simply and broadly, yes, we take all accents. All accents. We take all narrators. And again, if you're joining the Academy, then you'll also get classes with that. Not only can you hang out with us every Thursday night in Launchpad, but then if you join the core, right, the main Academy, then you'll also get classes from like 5 other coaches, on marketing, branding, acting chops. We do script workouts. We have webinars. So go check it out. Links in the description. Yep, we're getting spicy. I was so excited when Anthony was open to that and created the logo and all of that stuff. It was so exciting. Academy Voices After Dark. Yep. I'll have to check and see where he's at with building that out, but we're super excited because we got a lot of spicy narrators in our group. We sure do. Oh, also, before we go, I also wanted to tell you guys that Caesar, who I had on live a couple weeks ago, is going to come back in a couple weeks. He'll be back on my live stream with me in 2 weeks, the last Tuesday of January. So we'll continue that on. Hopefully I'll have him on every month and we can talk about technical stuff. So come back then. But otherwise, I'll see you guys, everybody in Launchpad. I'll see you guys on Thursday. And I'll see all the rest of you next Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Bye. Thank you for listening to She Lancer Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. That's me. For more information about me, visit my website, voiceoverangela.com, or hop on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.